The things we, oh, sorry.
Almost. Good morning, Hickory Sunrise.
Good morning.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'll be happy to offer the prayer this morning. Heavenly Father, thank you for another opportunity that we have here this morning to be about the business of helping our community in ways that we don't even yet know exist, but we're confident that they'll be revealed to us as the upcoming year goes by. We ask you to bless this meeting, to give us wisdom and the courage to carry through what you show us to do. As always, Father, we give you thanks for the gift of your Son, Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen.
Amen.
Good morning, Rotarians.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, sir. Good morning, Richard. How are you this morning?
So far, so good.
Good.
We're still early.
Ron Leach, how's the perimeter? Is it safe this morning?
I believe we're covered.
Okay, what about the northern perimeter? Fairbanks and all, is that all covered?
I had to bop a couple of guys with my flashlight, but taken care of.
All right, good deal. Glad to hear the good news this morning.
Here, home.
Well, first thing first, I carried over, we had an issue last week. Gavin can attest to this, Rick can attest to this, everyone here. And Kenny made a little presentation. And I'm sorry, Phil, you were not here for the presentation.
Oh, I saw it on the video.
Ron Leach, you missed this.
Oh yeah, hand out more of them. Go ahead.
Yes, I have more of these. If anybody,
I saw it on the video.
you saw it? Okay, and just in case you don't have enough of these, I have these right here.
Cards, right in the back, just mail them out to friends.
You can send this out, okay, anyone that you want. So Bobby would appreciate this, I want you to know. All right, I need at least $1 from you, and if you trust
You
me
have
with
one in the
that,
back of your pants there.
you got that, all right.
Give me that dollar.
Yeah,
You don't want that dollar.
all right, that was a lot of excitement when that was passed out last week.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What I would like to do is pay $1 out of my fine.
Yes.
My $1 out of that 20 for my fine. Put the other 19 in the bucket. And I'd like to know how many copies of this pornographic material can be purchased.
It is, it is still being circulated, and the challenge to that, as you know, it goes to the bucket.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, 19 of that goes in the bucket.
Yes, sir, it certainly does.
Thank
Well
you.
worth the cause, even though you had to climb the pole. All right, a couple other items.
You know, it's sort of like Noah and his two sons. You know, they had to walk in backwards carrying the cloth to cover their father. I really don't want to see that.
Okay, next item, Jake's Food. Be sure if you haven't contributed, Jake, the price of gasoline is going up, as you know, and it takes more gasoline to take Jake out for a ride. So be sure you drop the money off here. Okay. Now, here's another issue. Ron Leach, we missed you for 2 weeks, and I'm glad you watched the videos. You kept in touch with everything that was going on. Okay. We received this. I don't know if all of you received this. Okay. 3 pictures came in with an email. Did everyone get to see these? Okay. I'm going to pass them around if you didn't. And I'm thinking, Fort Wainwright, you were not stationed there, is that correct?
2 years.
2 years. Okay, Eric Fairbanks. And I noticed this was very appropriate and very fitting for the occasion.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was thinking it was in Anchorage, Elmendorf, but it wasn't.
Elmendorf is an Anchorage, but Wainwright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. All right, if you haven't seen this, pass it around. Now, I thought this was a good picture. You know, having your wife's picture under the pipeline, I thought was very appropriate, very nice. And I'll accept this.
It makes him look good.
It does make it look good. Now, here's the one that I have.
She does refer to me as Gas Man from time to time.
All right. Now, this picture came out, as you know,
On the outside.
a little bit self-serving, but Bob Steigler. Now, we talk about services of is this pushing the envelope a little bit? What do you think?
You asking Steiger that question?
I'm asking him.
Well, I mean, he said something about, I think it came from Ron wanting to know if anybody knew where these pictures were taken, and then I
Yeah.
knew where they were taken
Yeah.
because we've
Mendenhall
been there
Glacier.
at the Mendenhall Glacier, it's
Right.
famous. And then he sends me back something about being a smart ASS. I don't know, so I know it all. So that
All
was,
right, at least I think enough confusion over this, but it's a good picture, but I need at least $1 for this one. Now, wait a minute, if you have any objections, I have questions for you. If you want to name 5 of the 8 native indigenous tribes in Alaska, I'll accept that as a substitute.
You mean 1 out of 5?
No, I need 5 out of 8, 8 tribes. And if, I can ask more, but I'll take you at $1. All right, here you go.
Athabascans are the only ones that I got familiar with.
All right, Tlingit is another one, and
Inuit.
there's
Inuit.
Inuit. Okay.
did the ones that
Inuit's the only one I know.
Okay, but yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
They started that campaign, click it or.
All right, Rick, service above self.
Oh, yeah. That's service, service, service.
It is. Now, the only problem, you missed it last week, Tucker had to shell out $6 in fines. And we had all kinds of issues last week. This one was a great picture, made the front page, Hickory record. And the question is, and I think Rick has identified this, service above self. And I'll give him credit for this. Well done. It was been out all week almost. That was great. I enjoyed passing your house and seeing this. So if you haven't had a chance to see it,
So did we cough up on?
Yeah, if it's service above self, we all toss in a buck.
all right, in this service, you are right. I have put 2 in, but not identified.
Thanks, Tucker.
And it's a great picture of Gay. I can't say about Richard, but Gay is a good picture.
Actually, I talked to Robert Reed at the Hickory Daily Record. He said that Richard called him about 20
I
times.
bet he had. I bet he
I
had.
say, paid him to come by.
Richard has bought the paper, that's why he's been on it. He owns the Hickory Record.
One of 3 people now to take a subscription.
That's right. You got it. Okay.
So what about the other picture of Richard? How'd you handle that?
Yeah.
$6 it cost.
Yeah, $6.
Okay, that's reasonable.
We had issues.
Reasonable.
We had 3 big pictures.
He passed
3
4
big
buckets
pictures.
to get to that one.
Yeah, we'd like to see it.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, take that back together.
Well, when you own the paper, Bob, you're gonna see a lot more of it.
Oh, yes.
And you
Anyway,
pay off the photographer down the street, so.
we had to have legal opinions involved in this, the crime committee, and all of it went on and on. $6, it certainly did. Okay, President Field, it's all yours this morning. Everything's accountable for at this moment.
Accountable for.
Thank you so much.
Well, Sergeant at Arms, excuse me,
That's fine.
Mr. Sergeant at Arms.
Yes, sir.
I heard someone mocking your comment. You said accountable for, it may have been a little bit off, it should have been accounted for, but we are brothers and sisters in this classroom when we do things, and we shouldn't mock each other, should we?
I don't think so. I really don't. It
Man,
bothers
I
me. It
can't
hurts
tell
me.
you.
Can we take a vote?
And I know I know it hurts you.
It does.
So I'm gonna recommend that the person who says that be up for a fine. I'm just recommending.
When?
Right now.
Do I have a second?
And he's sitting beside me, Don. That's what makes it. He's sitting beside me.
Ought to know better.
Yeah, I know.
You're gonna get that.
If ought to know better, is a qualification to be in this club? I don't know. I don't know.
See if I got a
Oh,
How about membership, guys? Scott Owens is going to maintain and retain his membership.
Good.
Gerardo is in Florida until Monday, so I'll have to deal with him then. All the rest have been handled.
Did you get my email?
I haven't,
I sent.
I'm
another
tied up.
invoice. Okay.
Oh, yeah, you said you're going to invoice him. I saw that one,
I
yeah.
did again, yes.
Okay, good. He'll cover it.
That's certainly great news about Scott.
Yes,
It is.
He's a great member.
Very good.
good, no, very good.
I would, as you all know, I was not here last week. I was in West Virginia. I was in West Virginia last week on a club or church mission trip. We were working on with a flood relief disaster group up there. And I very much appreciate the hard work that our secretary does in providing videos of the meeting, because I was able to watch last week's meeting. And so I was prepared. I wish they all looked like this. I was prepared for the...
Any way you could hold that up to the camera so we can get, no, not that one.
I'm not, sure, certainly.
Hey, good morning, how are you, Robert?
You picked a bad day to do that. It's $20 this morning.
It's like going to your shop.
Pretty much. That's okay. All right. Donald, what was that comment you made earlier?
He said, again, respect each other. It looks like he didn't get the memo. They say what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I don't know why they say that, because both of them are geese.
So in all honesty now, it was very helpful to be able to watch the video so that I was prepared for the rest of the budget discussion. And it really is a great service that Bob provides by putting this up there so we can watch that. So thank you for that. And Richard, I was sorry to see that your classic car cost you so much money. I guess it was pictures of your car that got you in trouble. I couldn't quite.
Cost me more than the restoration.
Yeah.
All right, so I know, of course, most of the meeting we're going to dedicate to finishing up the budget, but Mr. Reiner has something.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Nancy and I will be in Greensboro at the Zone 33 Leadership Council Conference. If there's anything you need me to mention there, I'd like to know. I'll take it with me.
Okay.
If there's any concerns or changes or hopes for, because we can accelerate it up to the Council of Legislation if that's appropriate.
Thank you. Is there anything else that we need to discuss before we hop into the budget stuff?
I'd like to throw something out to the club, and that's going on in my life. Last week I told the club that a person that had registered for Rotary International in Toronto could not make that, and had offered me a registration packet. I have been communicating with the upcoming governor, the current governor, and the trainer, and several other people, and even Rotary International. Some of these people have contacted Rotary Original in Chicago, and they're telling me that it's policy and procedure that they cannot transfer membership. Now, I'm your upcoming president, and this is what I will be sending to them, something to this effect. To everyone who tried to help, thank you for all your efforts to help me with this issue. I am a bit disappointed that this organization cannot make a simple name change on a conference registration happen with a full month of prior notice. I know that Rotary is big, and I'm excited to be a part of it, but I question the real humanity of Rotary, as the response that I have been given is policy prohibitions. This position would be better understood and more acceptable if Rotary International was being asked to refund any money. But no, that's not the case. Perhaps policy prohibitions need a human touch. Could the stifled growth of Rotary International be connected to other similar policy prohibitions? How can we expect to grow if we allow policy prohibitions to be the final decision makers? I think that's going to Rotary International, Donald Hicks.
Oh, yeah, well written.
And so and then I'm going to leave it alone, and I'm going to come back to the club and ask, okay, they're not paying, are we still committed to paying my fees?
I will bring that up with the zone director. I had already put that on my list.
So that's been all the way up to Isaac and Biddle and Billy Black. And
The
other alternative is you could always wear a dress and just pretend to be her.
That's a good letter.
The recommendation has been that he go and be her.
I agree with him.
Right. We already voted that, right?
I guarantee you that's.
This got nothing to do with that.
Oh,
Is that administratively?
that was one of the recommendations,
Around the world.
but they said that you'd be taking your chances, and also, I can't very well pick up her, you know, I couldn't fool you.
Thank you.
Well, you could if you let your hair grow.
Well, it's going, I gotta cut
Okay,
it.
all right.
Get them, Rick.
Thank you, Donald, for filling us in on that. And yeah, it is frustrating when big bureaucracy gets in the way of something as simple as that. We've all been entangled with that at some time or another. Anything else before we move on to the budget? Dr. V, we're ready.
Okay, each of you has a copy, and so does Robert now, excuse me, of where we are. And let me just explain what it is. On the far right-hand column, the two black numbers there reflect what we said we were going to do. In fact, that column where it says in green and go down to red, that was our budget. The numbers to the right of the green and red numbers are the actual and then the difference. And bold numbers under total income, you see on the far right column in the middle there, 226555, that's how much more we made in income than we predicted we were going to make. And then down at the bottom, the minus 241, that was $241 over what we thought we were going to spend. So that was not bad. We were real close on that. So the actual profit is the difference between the two.
The 241 is against the 36044. Or the
No,
241
it's
is
against the 33. If you look at the bottom down there, where we predicted we would spend $33,779.
Gotcha.
We actually spent $33,537. So we went, actually we were ahead there.
Both those differences are
Yeah,
fairly
we were
good.
ahead, so we did fine. All right, now that brings us to the middle, the numbers where it says draft. This we did last week. You have to go back over it again. We said last week, we agreed that we thought we could bring in $2,500 again on the dances. At least 25,000. At least one dance, perhaps a second dance, or some other, maybe more than whatever we're going to do next spring. We're saying we're going to bring in that much money. The cart remains at 500, fines at 300. We changed the foundation and district dues. We're doing it based on 23 numbers. And that number puts us back in the small club category again. And you see the numbers reflected there, and we're rounding off where the district dues, probably a few pennies less than that, but just to make math easier, we rounded off 3,500. And we're keeping the $725 for Jake's breakfast, and you see where we are. So those total income we're saying is going to be $32,327. Now, last week we did I'm not going to go over each item. We see all the figures in blue. That totals $32,535. So we're saying just based on this, we're going to spend more than we're going to take in. Okay, so far. Now, brings us to a second issue. What else are we going to do? We have a couple ways to do this. For example, if you look under expenses in the blue, the Rotary dances, and then the breakfast away from LR, then there's a blank space for charitable contributions. We need to figure a number to go in there, or we could put specific things in line items, such as we have done for Classroom Connections, Hickory High, JROTC, and the Veteran Stand Down. We have those as definite line items. On the second page of what you have in front of you is listed the things that we spent money on this past year. Now, some of these are a one and done. For example, we won't necessarily always give money to the CBCC Rotaract unless we want to. The backpacks or Smart Start, I think that was a one-time thing that Jenny was working on, correct?
One-off.
All right. The Mountain View folders, that's a one-off. The Hunger Walk, is that, I'm not sure. what-
We don't know if they're gonna do it again.
All right.
Assume we would.
But that's only $100. Was that an individual thing, or that come from the club?
We, with 5 clubs, contributed that.
$100?
Yeah,
Okay.
each of us did
All right, so
100.
that came from the club.
Yep.
All right, the Puerto Rico water project is probably one and done. We might want to think about, do we want to do the Joy Prom again? And so here's the question. Are there any specific things that the club believes we should put in a line item to always fund, or should we just put a lump sum of money together and fund what comes to us? We've already agreed no more than $500 per project for any one thing that comes in. Ryan, what do you say?
Where in this list is the grant pledge for Rise Against Hunger?
Well, we were talking about it last week.
What is Rotary project?
We don't have that yet, okay?
Yeah.
And-
What's the Rotary project listed there, 1,500?
That was, if I'm not mistaken, that was Rise Against
Rise
Hunger.
Against Hunger.
That's
Yeah,
okay, that's what I know.
We spent $1,500, but we got $750 back
Okay.
from that, which doesn't show here. And that's what, can we table for just a moment the Rotary, Rise Against Hunger project, just for a second?
Okay.
Yeah, that's a separate issue we really need to discuss. But before we get to that, is there anything in anybody's opinion that has to go as a specific line item that we think we're going to try to fund every year?
I recommend we add the Hickory Soup Kitchen to that list.
Okay.
Since we no longer, as a club, provide volunteer hours, some of us do on our own, but since we no longer provide those volunteer hours, and it is one of the things that we like to tout is our support of the Hickory Soup Kitchen.
That appears in our bulletin, that's one of the projects that we support,
And I would suggest we make it the same value that we have in there for Classroom Connection.
$500.
$500.
Any opposition to that thought? We don't need to do Robert's Rules of Order here. Consensus is good enough. Anybody have any feelings
Soup Kitchen, $500.
against the soup kitchen itself?
Is Austin okay with that?
We're not asking him. We're gonna give money where they want to run.
Well, that's actually a good response.
Yeah, okay.
He's not here to defend you.
He
None
can't
of,
say no.
none of these are set in stone, correct? That's what we're discussing right now.
We're discussing.
Yeah. Can I ask about 2 projects we've done in the past?
Sure, you can have that.
Wheelchairs are active again, if we want to contribute toward that, and so is Shelter Box, if we wish to contribute to that. Those are doable items if it's in our heart to do it.
There was a time in our club, correct me if I'm wrong, Wayne, but I think originally the fine money was sort of an in-out fund for wheelchairs.
It was.
So there is some history of the club for supporting the Rotary International wheelchair.
Frank Dean in the next
So
3 or 4
theoretically,
weeks has taken a container load of wheelchairs to a needy point.
if, as part of our discussion, if you wanted to, are we using the fines for any specific thing? I'm just going,
It's just sitting there right now, so y'all tell me where you're going to send it.
They're an income line now.
That's right.
well, which is fine, yes, because we're gonna get to the extra income in a second.
We're up to 346.
One thing you could consider is using the fines for the wheelchairs. So if we're saying with 300 for the fine, we could put a line item for wheelchairs. That's just what I
Just
thought.
designate whatever project you want.
Yeah, okay.
And as a self-serving question, does that get us any credit on the pink pages, wheelchair donations?
No,
Okay.
no, because wheelchairs, because, I'm gonna screw this up, but as I recall, it was judged by Rotary International as not being a sustaining activity. So 2 individuals, a father and son, have started underwriting that. They're getting the wheelchairs at their cost, and which is about half price. And individual clubs are giving directly to that simply for purposes of having wheelchairs go out.
One thing also to consider. Are there local things on which we could spend money?
We've got 4 minutes.
Personally, I would think it would be better locally.
Okay.
Again, if you want to just have the fines any way you want to, doesn't make any difference.
Take it.
I don't call you.
With all the veteran stuff that people volunteer for, I'm thinking of particularly of you, Rick and Jim, is there anything there that we would like to?
Off the top of my head, right now, I can't think of anything specific. It doesn't preclude Jim or I or Ron or somebody else coming to do a program in which some money might be needed, but for a specific recurring line item, I don't think so, right? We do the stand down and we give money to the ROTC.
The bench for City Walk, is that a Hickory Sunrise project that we want to consider? City Walk bench, remember we were gonna put a
Little garden.
and then the other one was,
Well, they're not finished with their plans. They keep changing what they're gonna do at Union
okay,
Square. but-
we had two other projects that were
Polio.
between Stand Down and us, or Veterans Helping Veterans and us. One was the polio plaque
Right.
out at the Miracle on Hickory, and the other one was the, mine's gone. We had another
Cannon.
project.
Veterans Memorial.
Oh,
downtown.
moving the cannon,
Yeah.
moving the
Yeah,
cannon.
that's what's still up in the air with the city, so. But again, these are different things, not recurring. So I'm not hearing anybody wants something specific that every year. In other words, we've been comfortable every year
Be
giving
flexible, however
things.
you want to do it.
Right.
With budgeted certainty.
Do we anticipate this folder thing?
No,
reoccurring?
no, that's over with.
Because that's pretty pricey.
Yeah, it was, but
That was
that's,
one-off.
that's over and done. So, if from that list on the second page, if from that list, the club does not feel that any one of those items needs to be a recurring thing, because we don't know there's always going to be a joy prom. Remember they came and talked to us that church is not going to do it anymore?
Well, they're not.
No, this was their last year doing it.
Okay.
And they were looking for other places to do it. So it's the kind of thing we might not want to put in a specific line item, but just address if somebody comes to us for it. The Teen Christmas, I know, is out there. Got the, who does that?
That's,
Sounds like United Way.
United Way, yeah. The Christmas Bureau.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teen Christmas is part of the Christmas Bureau.
Yep.
But that's one thing, Rose Ranch gonna come and give a program on that in the next couple months. So,
Silly question, when we ring bell, do we give money to, other than what we individually throw in the pot? Seemed like we did at one time, didn't we? Didn't we give them 100 or something?
Not the last couple of years, have we? We've
Okay.
ever written a
Not
check
the
to
last couple of
Salvation
years,
Army.
I had written a check to Salvation Army.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think maybe one of the early times
Okay.
we wrote a check, but not recent.
so be thinking about this $500 donation to the soup kitchen as a recurring thing. That's the only thing that came up. All right, let's just suppose for the sake of discussion that we agreed to the 500 for the soup kitchen. That adds 500 to the bottom line in blue down here. So now we go over more. We keep adding more. So, Donald, go ahead.
Before you, I want to look at one of the other expenses that I think we ought to keep. I don't think we should strike everything. I think that we need to look at keeping CBCC Rotaract and anybody else Rotaract so we can hang on to gather if we plan to grow our club and continue to have Rotaract to be a blessing to us. They've been the people who served us at
Yeah, but in that regard, we have a commitment with Newton Conover to try to start Rotaract here at LR. And we're still working on that.
there's a Rotaract club already here.
No, there's not.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
With another
Yeah,
club?
we were trying to get Katie
We've been to it. We've been to it.
we were trying to get Katie to sponsor
Yeah.
it.
Vision.
Didn't work.
To be the campus rep.
Yeah.
All right, now, I know we're not finalizing specifics yet, but the idea is, no matter what we add, it's going to add to that bottom figure. So we have a choice. Either we think we can bring in more money balance it out. Or we cut something that we have as an expense. Or, and here's something we might want to really consider, under income, we can put a line item called carryover. And that means we take a certain amount of money from our balance, which we have overage, and we put that in to cover what we think we're going to give out to folks. And that would be in the line item that's blank. Everybody follow what I'm saying? That we would need more money. We have money. I don't know, extra 30-something, 29,000, something like
Well,
that.
it's 36. I have to make my monthly call to BB&T because every month I have to call them and validate my.
So let's just say, for the sake of discussion, and we can't finalize anything today because we need more members to get involved in the discussion, but for the sake of discussion, we have $36,000 out there. Theoretically, we could take a figure, 2,000, 3,000, whatever, put that in income, then have it reflected in the charitable donation so that everything eventually balances out.
I think we should do that. I mean, sitting on all that money.
And we can, and I think we should, personally. But also I think we need to realize there should be a limit that we don't go below.
Yeah.
Follow me, that 36,000, we can spend, say, 6,000 or 15,000, whatever. But there's a figure we should never, ever go below. But we just might need it for some reason we don't know yet. Everybody else agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
I think before you can make that kind of call, you need to decide what your income's gonna be for next year, what your projected income's gonna be.
Well, we have it down there. I mean, if
We're talking about adding?
well, it's a question. These are options. Either add or subtract or take from the carryover.
It's an accounting exercise.
to cover.
Essentially what you're saying is we can use some of the money that we've got in the bank without it necessarily coming in this year, right? Am I
Correct. We call it a carryover.
It's just a way to do that.
Right, yeah. I mean, I do that all the time when I'm doing budgets for my job and stuff. If I take a carryover to make sure we can, because I have enough banked away there.
Yeah, if we were functioning as a business, all that stuff would be called retained earnings that we kept from when, if we were functioning as a nonprofit business, where we had to report to the feds. And to Gavin's point, thank you for sharing this so that I feel a little bit more available for comments. To Gavin's point, I think it's unfortunate that it's so difficult for us to spend some of that money. Because unlike a real business, if we do spend down that money and then hard times come, well, it just means that we fund other things less than we would otherwise. There's no danger of us closing the doors.
Oh, no question about that. We're fine.
For those of you that are involved in a small business, you know that you got to keep that floor because cash flow is king as a small business. Fortunately,
But that's why we're doing, go ahead.
Contingency fund, is there any consideration taking part of that, whatever it is, and put it in some investments that would get some money back into the club, and it would be making money for us, rather than just sitting in that account?
I think that's a great idea, personally.
I don't think you can legally do that, Phil. You may want some clarification on that. We're not for profit, so we're not a 501c3.
And we want to stay below 50 grand, but I agree with him, because there's one account we don't get a cent for every year, and the other one is negligible, even though they say interest rates will go up for savings, it is negligible.
Can we talk to, Austin would know, wouldn't he? As a nonprofit person, if you.
Well, you can simply ask Bobby.
Okay, yeah.
Remember that we are not a 501c3. Contributions to the club cannot be used as a tax deduction. And we're
Is that a big deal to you?
oh yeah, 501c3, big deal.
Yeah, huge deal.
Big deal. Have to have a board of governors. Have to file an IRS tax return.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, you don't want that.
But if we're under 50,000, it's
Get
an
money
electronic, it's a one
from
sheet
another country, come in.
electronic form.
So here's,
What's
They
the,
ask for it every
We
time.
are-
what's the difference in us making a profit off of a rotary dance and making a profit off of a CD?
I think.
How does that differ?
I think your point is well taken. I think it's just fine, because we are not a 501c3. What would be difficult would be if we tried to call it something like an endowment fund and represent it as such. I think
It's kind of bank account essentially.
I think if we just took the money and invested in an appropriate mechanism that would gain us some interest, I think that's fine.
You know, I just rolled over three CDs for the church, and I think we got somewhere around 2.4%. That's certainly better than zero.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. And if there's no risk, I mean, and it's sitting there anyway.
Not
I
in a
mean,
CD, there's no risk.
So, I mean,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I will certainly ask Bobby Durrett about that. I'll see her this morning.
BB&T.
That's who these are with.
Um,
No, I'm sorry. These
All
are
right.
with,
There's a few things out there I want to sort of just get some kind of consensus on.
Okay.
Is there any objection, or how do you feel about taking some of the extra money we have and putting that in as an income, in other words, a carryover, to help make sure we can cover the things we say we're gonna do? Anybody?
No, that's a contingency fund, should be there.
Right.
I think that's the purpose of the fund.
Right, and I agree, I just wanna make sure, I don't wanna, I wasn't gonna put that in here without y'all saying so.
Contingency.
And we've been doing that, so
Yeah.
basically.
And we have.
We've been doing it, we're just making it official.
We're just making
Or at least a
Official.
Making it an official title
Correct.
and put a parenthesis where it comes from, kind of in the income line, so that we won't have to have this discussion every year that, oh, it's coming from the funds we already have.
And you're right. We get in the habit of realizing that once we put what we really think our income's gonna be, and what we really think our outgo's gonna be, and if the outgo exceeds the income, then we pull from the contingency fund to balance it out,
Yes.
okay? The only other question I would have, and we don't have to have an answer today, but for you to be thinking about, what's the floor of the extra money? How low can we not,